Live with us in Washington. Now we must turn to Australia. The bushfires there continue. They're fueled by hot and dry conditions. And bear in mind the fire season has come earlier than normal and has been more severe than normal. Have a listen to what a group of former senior fire chiefs is saying about the government's approach to the issue of climate change and its contribution to recent climate talks in Spain.
We have no moral leadership, as we saw in Madrid. The bushfires weren't even mentioned. Other countries were aghast that while Australia burns, our government went over there and argued against tougher emission standards. This has to change.
There's no doubting the severity of what's happening. This is an unprecedented bushfire crisis. You can see here, every fire is marked on the map of Australia, and there are a huge number of them. The crisis has already killed 6 people. It's destroyed more than 700 homes. Here are some of the latest pictures to give you an idea of the scale of it. This is being called the mega blaze. It's already destroyed 20 houses near Sydney. It's now moving further towards the Blue Mountains. That's a popular tourist area west of the city. This is also a focus, a power station that firefighters are trying to protect. It's nearby to the fire, and there are large stockpiles of piles of coal there. Of course, there's a certain irony because coal power is a major contributor to greenhouse gases, which in turn cause climate change. Now, these pictures are from Sydney itself, and we know over the last few weeks air quality has been 22 times worse than what would be standard. Doctors are saying that in turn is creating a public health emergency. And I also wanted to show you these pictures because large fires are also threatening parts of Western Australia, and these pictures are from just north of Perth. Now, the fires are being driven by various factors, but high temperatures are the most significant one. Have a look at this heat map that's been released by Australia's Bureau of Meteorology. This shows temperatures across the country. Dark red areas, such as here, this is where the temperature's gone to 39 degrees Celsius or higher. Light brown areas here, over 42 degrees, and these dark brown areas here, over 45 degrees has been recorded, and there's more coming. Record-breaking temperatures are forecast this week. Have a listen to the current fire chief in New South Wales.
There's more than 100 fires burning throughout the state. Any one of them could cause us problems over ensuing days. So whilst we are concerned about this, we also need to keep in mind that there's a lot of communities still very close to fire.
While all of this is going on, Prime Minister Scott Morrison is on holiday. That's led to the hashtag "Where the bloody hell are you?" trending on Twitter. The reason that's doing the rounds is because of this tourism campaign slogan. You may well remember it, and it was launched when Mr Morrison was head of the tourism agency. This image has also been widely shared, a very well-known internet meme, but with a twist. Here's the man holding a piece of coal surrounded by flames saying, "This is fine." And that's a direct reference to this moment in the Australian Parliament back in 2017, when Scott Morrison brought a lump of coal into Parliament to demonstrate his support for the coal industry. Now, Australia was recently ranked as the worst performing government on climate policy in a global ranking of 57 countries. You can find it here, the Climate Change Performance Index, it's called. It was produced by a range of think tanks, and if you look at what Australia is experiencing, certainly you can say that climate change, you would imagine, would be a focus. Meteorologists have released this, and you can see temperatures increasing through the last century, particularly in the last 20 years. Now, meteorologists are always reluctant to connect individual events to climate change. They will, though, describe this kind of thing, a long pattern of increasing temperatures, and we know that global warming is being driven by human behaviour. Here's more from Phil Mercer in Sydney on the criticism coming from those former fire chiefs.
The finger is well and truly pointed at the centre-right Prime Minister Scott Morrison. He has, in the last couple of weeks, finally acknowledged a link between global warming and Australia's unprecedented bushfire crisis. But this is a country that remains heavily reliant on coal. It generates most of Australia's electricity, and it also pumps billions of dollars into the Australian economy. The government here is a very enthusiastic supporter of the coal industry. Those former fire and emergency chiefs say that Australia needs to take the threat posed by climate change far more seriously.
Let's finish with a study on mobile